What causes persecution? Well, at a basic level, it's a pretty simple question to answer. What causes it is people being mean. There's whether that's government or whether that's a more kind of social persecution. It all starts with someone saying what those people are doing or believing is bad and they need to be punished. The question I'm trying to get at, though, is why do people feel that way? Why do people feel that way about Christians, for instance? Well, one reason is because Christians are bad. Christians are bad like everybody else. They're not worse than everybody else. They're just bad like everybody else. And so it's not hard to lay sins at the feet of Christians and say, well, therefore they need to be hated or shunned or punished or whatever. The second reason is that Christians are good. Well, no, wait a minute. I thought you just said Christians are bad. Well, we are bad, but we're also good. There's a wonderful exposition of this in 1 Peter, which I have been preaching through at Sovereign Grace Fellowship. And there, Peter talks about how his audience is hated by those who are in the world. And one of the reasons for that is because his audience used to participate in the kind of debauchery that their old friends continue to participate in. And they don't like it that their old friends who've now become believers aren't doing what they used to do. People feel judged when we put behind us particular unhealthy, sinful habits. And people feel judged in part because, or in addition, because we have a propensity to actually, and this is more the Christian's fault, present ourselves as the people who do well. This image of Christianity that's grounded in our obedience rather than Jesus' substitution for us is going to encourage, in an unhealthy way, people to think that Christians are horrible, judgy, terrible people. Now, once again, we are judgy people. That is, Christians are those who submit to, by God's grace, what God's Word has to say. Let's take as an example, right now we are in the midst of what is euphemistically called Pride Month. And all around us, people are being encouraged to celebrate all manner of sexual confusion. And Christians don't, or at the very least, Christians shouldn't. If you were to look at any demographic in the country and discern who are those who are most convinced that the sexually confused are sexually confused, it's going to be the professing Christians. And that's really, really hard on those people who embrace their sexual confusion. So it's a combination of things that lead to persecution. This is why the fellow in Colorado, the baker, keeps getting harassed by this particular lobby because he won't agree. And there is this position of extreme moral condemnation against those who believe in even the quietest, most gentle moral condemnation. That is, if I gently say, I'm sorry, I can't approve of your sexual confusion, I will have a ton of bricks descend on me from the sexually confused. I'm sure it'll come following in the heels of this particular podcast. I can count on getting angry responses, particularly from the sexually confused, anytime I describe them as being sexually confused. That's okay. So that's one of the, or I should say, multiple ways in which persecution comes upon the believer. Jesus made it very clear. Jesus said, hey, they hated me, they're going to hate you. In 1 Peter, Peter's message is, don't be surprised we should be expecting this. And if anything freaks us out and worries us, it should be when we don't experience persecution.